All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're talking about something pretty radical. The idea that real, lasting change doesn't come from tiny tweaks. Nope. It comes from a complete teardown and rebuild of who you are. We're going to walk through a blueprint for that reinvention, and it's all inspired by the hard-earned wisdom of the Stoics.
This right here, this is the core idea for everything we're about to cover. We're trained to think destruction is a bad thing, right? Chaos, failure. But the whole point here is that sometimes it's the only way to get clear. When you feel stuck, when you know you've outgrown who you are, ignoring that feeling is just a slow, quiet death. The act of tearing down what's not working anymore, that's what makes room for something powerful to grow in its place.
So let me ask you something, straight up. Do you recognize that person looking back at you? There's this quiet kind of suffering that comes from staying the same for too long. It's that feeling you get late at night when you know deep down something has to give. You're stuck on a loop. Same thoughts, same excuses, same fears. Well, this is for anyone who feels that pull, that need for something to finally break. And that something is you.
Okay, so our first step here is what we're calling the call for radical change. This is all about finally admitting a tough truth. The person who got you here isn't the person who's going to get you where you need to go. It's time to take a sledgehammer to the foundation.
And listen to how final this sounds. We're not talking about improving these parts of you or working on them. No, we're talking about erasing them. The part of you that craves comfort, that comes up with a million reasons not to act, the one that lets fear call the shots, that entire identity has to be completely dismantled. It has to go.
All right, so next we move into a much more aggressive phase, burning down the old you. This is where we stop thinking and start acting. It's about being ruthless and cutting off every single path that could possibly lead you back to who you used to be.
And this just lays it all out, doesn't it? It's a battle between two selves. On one side, you've got the old self. It's comfortable, it loves looking back, it's defined by the past. And on the other, you have the new self, totally focused on growth, discipline, and what's next. Here's the kicker. You can't be both. You have to choose which one to starve and which one to feed every single day.
This isn't just a nice-sounding metaphor. It's a real strategy. Think about ancient warriors who would land on enemy shores and then they'd burn their own ships. Why? To completely eliminate the possibility of retreat. It made things crystal clear. The only way out is forward. That is the kind of mindset we're talking about here. No backup plans. No going back to old habits or old friends just in case. So this is where the rubber meets the road. To make this real, you need a cut list. A non-negotiable one. We're talking about blocking numbers of people who drain your energy, walking away from poisonous habits that kept you small. You have to purge those limiting beliefs and, maybe the hardest part, sever every single emotional string that ties you to that old version of you. Because if you don't, trust me, you'll grab onto them the second things get tough. So I want you to think about that and be really honest with yourself. What part of your old life are you still protecting? What bridge are you just too afraid to light on fire? You have to understand the fire you use to burn that bridge, that's the same fire that's going to forge the new you. Okay, so once you've cleared the rubble and burned the bridges, the rebuilding begins. And according to all this wisdom, the most important work you will ever do is not done in front of an audience. It happens in solitude, when nobody's watching. And the only person you have to answer to is the one in the mirror. And this is such a critical distinction. We're taught to fear being alone, but solitude isn't loneliness. Loneliness is a feeling of lack, an absence of connection. Solitude, that's a place of power. It's the quiet space where you finally get to build the most important connection of all, the one with yourself. So how do you use that solitude? You build a routine, an unbreakable one. And listen, this isn't about intensity. It's about consistency. You start waking up on purpose, not just rolling over and grabbing your phone. You move your body, you train it. You find a way to still your mind, whether it's meditating or just quiet reflection. And then you do your work with focus. This routine, this is what saves you when your motivation disappears. And that's exactly why the routine is so powerful. It's you, every single day, proving this quote from Marcus Aurelius right. You can't control the world outside, but you damn sure can control your own mind and your own actions. That routine is you building an internal fortress that no outside event can ever tear down. And that brings us to the final and, honestly, the most crucial stage. You've cleared the land. You've started building the structure in solitude. Now you have to install a brand new operating system. You have to consciously program the mind that is going to drive every single thing you do from this day forward.
Just look at this shift in your internal self-talk. The old programming says, well, this is just who I am. It's a dead end. The new programming asks, who do I want to become? It's a launch pad. You stop saying, I'm trying to be, which just invites failure. You start declaring, I am. And you stop running on the chaotic fuel of feelings and comfort and start running on the clean, reliable energy of discipline and values.
You know, probably the biggest lie we're ever told is that our identity is fixed, that it's set in stone. It's not. It's more like clay. You are being shaped every single day. Who you are is nothing more than the sum of your choices and your thoughts. Every disciplined action, every positive thought, it's all forging that new identity, choice by choice.
And this might be the ultimate mindset flip. The Stoics believed that obstacles, pain, failure, setbacks, they aren't things that get in your way, they are the way. The very thing that you think is stopping you is actually the raw material for your growth. You don't just get through hardship, you use it. You let what was meant to break you become the very thing that makes you unbreakable.
So we end here. It all comes down to a choice. The old you, that person served a purpose. They got you this far. But that chapter is over. Will you keep carrying the weight of that person, dragging them around forever? Will you have the courage to bury them and rise from that ground as someone new? It's your call.